Hello everyone, this is General Hand Grenade. Welcome to my war room in Prince George, British Columbia. In today's video, we will be continuing our demonstration game of Global War 1914, and we are in the second half of the summer of 1915. It is France's turn, but before we get to France's turn, I'm just gonna respond to a couple of comments we got on the video, yesterday's video. So when I was editing, I noticed I did something wrong, and somebody else pointed it out as well, and that is that I should have taken one more casualty off the Russians here. Now, I can't really take one off the infantry, because if I'd done that, then the Germans would have kept going. They've got 6 infantry left. So taking one off of them would have meant that the Germans could keep going, and that wouldn't be fair. So I'm going to have to either take a Cossack or an artillery. Let's just take an artillery. So we've got one of each left. There we go. The other thing is, somebody asked me about mandatory offensives and what would happen if a nation didn't make a mandatory offensive. So one thing I would say about that, first of all, is I encourage everybody to read the rules that are online for Global War 1914, because we're trying to finalize those rules, and so when everybody goes through them, if you have any questions about them, then it's possible that we haven't explained them well enough. So we would like to be able to finalize those rules, and we don't want to do that because this is the first version of the game. We don't want to do that until everybody's had a chance to go through them and to make sure that they understand them. And also, it's good for you to know what the rules are by reading them yourself, because then you understand where to find them. Like when that question was asked of me, I went to the rule book, and I was there in like 2 seconds, because I know where everything is in the rule book. It's hard to memorize every rule to one of these Global War games, but it is easy to remember where it is in the rule book so that you can look for the exact wording. Anyway, it's 8.2 in the rule book, and what it is that if you don't make your mandatory offensive as Germany or France or Britain, then there's 3 things. First of all, you can't engage in diplomacy, so you can't purchase a diplomacy role or an influence role, nor can you use one that you've theoretically earned, like by winning a territory or a naval battle. So you can't engage in that. The second one is, it has to do with diplomacy as well. You can't automatically align a country. Like for instance, Romania will be automatically aligned to France in I think it's the summer of 1916. It's sometime in 1916 anyway. So if they hadn't satisfied their mandatory offensive in 1915, which they have, but if they hadn't, and we get to that point, then they don't get to automatically align Romania, and then it doesn't matter after that as far as Romania is concerned. Like they can't just do something, make an offensive in the summer of 1915, and then Romania, oh, okay, we'll join you now. Once you've missed that window of opportunity, it's gone for the rest of the game. So that's a big deal. And then the third thing, and this is a big deal as well, is that you can't make a role for wartime economy if you've developed that technology, and that's going to hurt, right? All 3 of these nations have that. So, having said that, there is one more thing I want to clear up too. So, as you know, sometimes I say the wrong thing. I'm thinking the right thing in my head, but the wrong thing comes out of my mouth. So, when I was talking about the mandatory offensive, I said that it has to occur in Germany and France and Italy. I didn't mean to say Italy, I meant to say Belgium. Word has it that they're not the same country. So, the mandatory offensive has to occur in Germany, France, or Belgium. Let me just make that clear. Anyway, let's get on with France's turn here. So, the French Republic. Let's start with their technology rolls. Okay, they're going to go for defense in depth, and that's a 7 or more. 7. Okay, they got that. So that goes to stage 2. And we're going to go for hurricane bombardment. And I believe that's a 7 or more. It's wrong on my chart there. I'm going to check it after this roll. Okay, 10. Well, I got it anyway, so I'll check it later. I know I got it. So that goes to stage 3. And they're not going to do any diplomacy, and they don't have any free diplomacy rolls this turn. They tried to get one, and they went after an Ottoman cavalry, but it didn't work out. Okay, now they're going to, even though they don't need to do an offensive, they're going to do one on the Western Front anyway, because they might not get another chance to do this. Germany is temporarily weakened because they had to go backwards to chase those Russians out of Galicia, and to attack the ones in Bohemia. So they're temporarily weak right here, and this and France is really strong right now. So they would be remiss if they didn't take this opportunity to make an offensive into Lorraine here. So everybody that can hit, just like the last few turns, everybody that can hit is going into Lorraine there. Also, they've got that seaplane down in Gibraltar. He's going to go after those 2 subs. And then let's go to the bottom of the board there. So we are going to take this infantry here. Had to get back on the boat because he didn't successfully defeat this cavalry. So he's got another place he can go right now. He's just going to go to British Somaliland and take that out for free, and that's going to satisfy their offensive. That's going to get a territory for them, so they get up high on the diplomacy chart. If they can keep it, like if the Ottomans are able to take them back, then different story, right? They don't have a lot of units down here. Like I thought about going here, but they kind of need their money up on the Western Front right now, so they don't have the money to replace down here. Like they're going to have to put somebody right here, unless they were just to go with these 2 guys, right? Actually, they don't have a manpower icon here anyway. So, and they don't have manpower icons here. But here doesn't really matter because that's not worth an IPP. You know what? Let's just go after this guy. It's probably not a good idea, but let's go after him. Like he rolls at 4, and these guys are both going to roll at 1 going into the jungle, right? Anyway, here we go. So let's do the little attacks first. That would be the seaplane. So 1 at 3. Got one of those subs. You dirty rat bastards. Got one of you. And then we've got that attack in the jungle down there. So we're going to do 2 at 1, and the German will be 1 at 4. Here we go. Misses. Misses. And misses. Okay, that attack is stifled. Both of those guys will go back to where they came from. Yeah, they're both going to go back to where they came from. I'll do that when I go down there. I can't reach from here. My arms aren't that long. So then we've got on the Western Front there, no observation for... Oh, by the way, I'll show you what I bought here, because it reminded me of, I bought a fighter. Fighters are going to upgrade at the end of this year, so and then they're going to cost more, right? So I'm buying one now because France doesn't have one. Plus I could use some observation, right? We're going to build the artillery in Washington. We've got a Zouave and 5 infantry there. So here we go. I've got 5 artillery, none of them is observed. And yeah, no terrain. Ooh. Yeah, that's a 3. Okay, so 1 hit. And the Germans have 1 artillery that it is observed, so 5 or less. And that's a miss. Okay. The Germans are just going to lose that artillery. which means their balloon comes off as well because it's the last artillery. But they want to lose that because they've got those infantry are defending at 6, right? And they're probably not going to last. So they have got 21 infantry, a Zouave, a militia. Let's just do the Zouave and the kicked up infantry first. So there would be 5 and a Zouave at 3. 2, 4, 5, 6. So this is at 3. And no hits. Wow. That sucked. And what did I say? 21. So 16 at 2. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Let's do 8 twice. This is at 2. 1 hit. Okay. And 8 more. And there's another hit. And then we've got a militia at 1. Okay. That's a miss. So 2 hits, and the Germans have 2, 4, 6 at 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, just 3. So these guys are going to lose a militia and 3 infantry. Okay, so we have 5 artillery at 4, so 3, 4, 5. Misses again, wow. Okay, and then 5, 6 at 3. Misses, wow. This is why you go with overwhelming odds. And then, so it should be 18 infantry, I believe. Here, 10, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, 18 minus 5 is 13. 2, 4, 6, 7 at 2. Wow. Still no hits. Okay, wait, 6 more. One hit out of all of that. Wow. Okay. So then the Germans have 4 at 4. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Okay. The Germans really needed this, by the way. They needed to knock the French down because, I mean, they had 21 infantry there, right? So 5 artillery at 4. This is the last round. 1 hit. And then 6 at 3. Huh, nothing. So, I've got 1 so far. Okay, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Minus 6 is 9. So 2, 4, 6. Let's roll them all at once. 9 at 2. This is the last shot. They need 2 hits. 1, 2. Wow, they barely got it. They got 3 hits. It took them 3 rounds, and they barely got them. So then the Germans have 3 at 4. 1 hit. Okay. So here, let's flip this around for you. Where are we here? Okay. Take the Germans off. And this, I've already taken the French off. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And this will be 5. We'll take that off. And these are infantry. And these are all infantry, okay. And we've got this Zouave in there. We'll take that off and put that on. Okay, that's it, isn't it? All right. You know what? I didn't even put my complexes on for the French. I'll have to put those on there. I just noticed that now that it's empty in there. There's a major complex here and one here, major factories. Okay, let's move this infantry up here to Paris. And the seaplane, we'll go back to Gibraltar. I'm kind of playing it safe here, just in case the Italians go to the Central Powers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this guy down here, and then I'm going to put this Zouave right here. Okay, well, let's just put the guys on up here, and then I can go down to the other side. So there's the Zouave, and I've got 3 infantry in Paris and 2 down here. I'm not looking at you. Look over here. Okay, so I put 2 infantry here, 3 down in Paris. I've got that artillery going to Washington, and I've got the fighter going to Paris. Okay, let's go to the bottom of the board, do some more non-combat moves. So this attack failed. These guys are just going to go back. And I think that's it for moves anyway. I think that's all I had to do was just move these guys, because that's already moved. And I've got nobody else down here. I mean, I don't want to move him. Anyway, I guess that's it. So, France goes up. That's 3, I think, isn't it? Yep, 3. So France goes to 21. Germany goes down to 37. France will get a pie up here for taking the territory. These guys still have one. Or have gained one since the last round. So that's it. Looking around just to make sure. Okay, France has 21 IPP, plus they've got wartime economy. Get rid of these dice. And holy crap. That's every roll they've had has been big. So 21, 32 IPP. Okay, let's move on to the next one. On to the Ottoman Empire. Okay, so they have got 1 major factory, and they're going to roll for wartime economy. They're at stage 3 right now. They could really use this one. The whole Central Powers could really use this one for them and Austria to get it. And they got it. There we go. Nice. Okay, and then they've also got 1 diplomacy roll because of that cavalry run amok down in Africa down there. So they are going to go for the Netherlands. They're at stage 1 in the Netherlands right now. So need a 3 or less. Nope, no dice. Well, that dice, but that dice wasn't good. Okay, let's take a look at the Ottomans. So, if you were watching the last video there, you've seen that the dastardly British have taken southern Iraq from us. And it's pretty built up. And the Russians are fairly built up there, but you look behind the Russians and there's nothing there, right? It's just breaking through there that's going to be a problem. We know that the Bulgarians are going to align to the Austrians on the very next turn. So they're going to be backing us up there. We can, maybe take that artillery out of Thrace and use that. Another thing is that we took one of the British transports up to close to the home country there. So we were worried about our capital before, right? Because Greece had fallen so early. But now the only British transport that can reach it is this one here. And then France also has one. And we don't know which way Italy's going to go, but we've got to turn before Italy anyway. And I wouldn't be too worried about the Italians at this point. If they do go to the Allies, then they're going to be more concerned with the Austrians. So we don't have to worry about our capital as much as we did before. We do have to worry about those guys up there. They do have one naval infantry, the Russians. So we're going to worry about that. I'm just saying we don't have to stock our capital up as much as we did. I don't know that there's too many attack moves that we can do, but we can start moving guys out now, I think, to get ready to attack somebody. So, you know what we should do though? This guy's eventually going to get caught down here. So let's take him and let's attack this infantry. It'll be 1 at 3 versus 1 at 4. I think that it's just regular ground. Here, we could probably just zoom in here. For Somaliland. Where are we there? What do you think? Do you think that's desert? Dervish State is desert there. Or is that mountains? No, it's mountains. The rest of the stuff is mountains, so I'd say that's not. I'd say that's regular ground. Okay, let's call it regular ground. If it's not, I'll let you know at some point in the future. There we go. We're going to go after that guy. That's a 3 out of 4. Because I think he's not long for this world anyway. I think that's our only attack, so let's move this back again. Oh, except the sub. We are going to convoy with that sub too. So the sub is going to be the black dice, and it's +1. And something we should have been doing the last couple of turns. You can't ever forget this, but it's easy. You'll see what I mean when you get the game. It's easy to forget to shoot off your artillery for the attrition. As long as you're not planning on moving it, right? Okay, so let's do that sub, +1, black dice. And that's even, so nothing happens. Okay, then we've got the camel. Let's make him green. Against, the red dice will be the French. Oh, let's make that blue. So, green dice is at 3, blue dice is at 4. Nothing. Nothing. One more round. Oh, it was a 2 for a second there. So nothing. Okay. So that guy's going back. All right. So I've taken him back. Now, let's move this out of the way. We gotta keep it handy though, because we got some wartime economy to roll for. Let's take that artillery that's in Thrace there, and we'll rail him down to northern Iraq. And, oh, by the way, I bought 2 dudes and 3 colonial troops. Let's move this guy up to here. And let's move 2 guys up to here. We don't want to abandon our capital, but we just don't need to be quite as worried as we were before. Let's move one of these guys here and one of them down here. Okay. Put our stuff on. We'll put a colonial troop here and one here and one here. Oops. And we've got 2 infantry. So one here and one over here. Let's take these 2 off. Put 2 chips on. Take this guy off. Put a chip on. There we go. The Ottomans are looking a bit better there. Yeah, it's a shame we didn't have more than a rail capacity of 1 there, isn't it? Okay, we've got our wartime economy roll. This is something we could use. Probably get snake eyes. Sad sacks. Okay, here we go. 10. Well, that's handy. And they're down 1 IPP, so that's 19. There we go. 19 IPP. And we'll move on to the Russians. Okay, the Russian Empire. So, this is really a pivotal turn for Russia. They're about halfway to the point in this game, after this turn, I think, where we start rolling for the Russian Revolution. And so, they're halfway to doing what they're going to accomplish, and then maybe be out of it, right? So, the question is, what can we accomplish at this point? Now, with Germany having so much money, we know that they're going to be able to outspend us as the Russians. France and Britain are doing really well on the Western Front right now. So that's going to draw a significant amount of their resources. One of the things that I think that we can do, like here, let's take a look at the options. So they've got this space right here, right? Where they've got a ton of stuff. Now, we could go here, here, and here with these things. But if you remember back to our last video, the random event was that you were -1 attacking an Austrian-held territory. And this is Austrian territory right here. The Germans liberated it last time. So, and that is also, I did speak with Bob yesterday. We talked on the phone for a bit and debated it for a while. Now, normally your bonuses don't stack, right? Because, like a mountain city doesn't make you -2. It just makes you -1. But with the random events, that's kind of like an extra thing, right? And so this will stack with your terrain modifiers. So when you're looking at Bohemia here, they do have to cross a river. So of course, your infantry is not going to go below 1. But your Cossack and your artillery, your artillery, actually, no, they're only going to be -1 because they don't have a river penalty. Anyway, your artillery here is only at 3. Your Cossack is at 3. And this Cossack's going to be at 3. There's no other terrain in here. All these dudes are going to be at 1. The militia can't fight, of course. He can't leave Russia. This guy's going to be at 1. These artillery are going to be at 3. And that's every round. That's not just the first round. We've got another Cossack here. He could be at 3. So there's tons of stuff here. For one thing, they've got 6 artillery, right? And that's first strike. And then they've got 7 infantry. So we probably won't be able to break the trench line anyway, unless we're rolling a shit ton of 1s. You know what I mean? We're going to suffer a lot of attrition there. And then once we do that, we've used the bulk of our Russian units on the Eastern Front. And then the Germans have all these units here, right? Plus they've got the guys coming from Berlin. So that's option A, take this spot. Option B would be to attack Berlin here. And I don't believe that there's any terrain there. Let's just see here. No, it's a straight shot from Bohemia to Berlin. So that's a better option, but you've only got the guys in Bohemia to do it. Losing that artillery like we did earlier in today's video, that should have been lost in the last video, did hurt us because they've got 6, 7, 8 units, and these guys got 6, 7, 8, 9 units if you count the Zeppelin. The Zeppelin's fairly inconsequential, but it's still a hit, right? It can still take a hit. And they've got a trench line. So all these guys are going to roll at 6 on the first round for sure. And then again, you're losing all of these guys here, and then what do you got left? You've got these guys and these guys and these guys to make 2 attacks here, because you definitely won't be able to go after this. So that's option 2, going after Berlin. That's kind of like a bit of a Hail Mary, probably about the same odds, maybe less odds. Yeah, they're less odds because these guys would probably still have a trench line after the first round, whereas Berlin, you need to take off 4 units with these guys. Well, that's not even great, is it? Yeah, see, that's not a great option either. And this is why I mentioned earlier that you're about halfway there. So if you can try to maintain as much ground as you've got, then you can keep the Russians in it, right? Like the more territory you lose, the more likely you are to go to revolution, because it goes by the nut. Like you start at the number 12, you got to roll a 12, and then like you add or subtract depending on how many territories you have, right? So having more territories gives you a better chance of staying in the war. The third option I'm thinking about and what I'm leaning towards is these three territories here. That's worth 2, that's worth 2, that's worth 1. So that's 5 IPP. The Russians are already plus 1 IPP. So these guys come back this way, maybe leave a dude or two back here, and then put a colonial troop in there. And so these guys take this, these guys take this, and these guys take this. And then you still have some here, you can non-combat move some over there, right? And so you're making the Germans come to you. So you got better odds on defense than you do on offense. Definitely better odds because of the random event there. Not only are you taking the 5 IPP, but there's also one here and one over here as far as manpower icons, right? So the Germans are able to put 2 less things here. Now this one you could say 2, but they would only be able to put a colonial troop there if they put something there. So upwards of 3 units they can't put on the Eastern Front. And then what have they got to come back at you with? Because you're way back here and you've taken this one, all they've got is the 3 infantry, because nobody else would be able to reach except these guys. So they've only got this 3 infantry and these guys to attack the Russians with. And so that's why I'm leaning that way. This game is a defensive game. Who plays better defense? And so there is a fourth option too, and that is just attack with these guys, like attack this and this, and then leave all of these guys here, like just do nothing with them, because you make them come to you. Like these guys aren't going to be able to attack them. They've got to worry about the Western Front. So it'd be these guys and these guys attacking these guys, and then these guys against this. So that's the other option, right? The difference here is the amount of money that you're getting for yourself, because this, like I said, is worth 2. Anyway, let's do the option where we attack but leave some behind there. So let's start our turn. Okay. Now the Russians have 1 industrial complex, or major factory, I guess you could call it, and they're going to go with defense in depth. Yeah, because they, other than strategic bomber, they've really got nothing on there started, right? So defense in depth, and that's 7. Okay, they got that. So they're stage 1 in that. They do have a diplomacy role as well, because of taking Bohemia last time. I forgot to put it up on the board there when I showed you the board a few minutes ago, but they do have a role, and they're going to go for Finland, so they need a 3 or less. Missed. Okay, so let's do this. Flip this around. Let's leave at least 2 guys here. And we'll come with these guys. Plus the artillery and the Cossack. And then this way, and this, and 1 artillery, and then these guys. I can't go with the militia. I think we could do a little bit better than that there. Let's bring in another one here. Okay. There we go. And I believe that's all we can do. Okay, here we go. Let's go after Saxony first. So we have got one artillery. They have none, no observation. So 1 at 4. That's a hit. So that's the German militia. And then we've got 4 are infantry, 1 of them's observed, and we've got a Cossack. Okay. So that's 3 infantry at 1 and 1 infantry at 3. And let's do the red one for the Cossack at 4. Oh, 3 infantry at 2. Right. No train. Oh, this one's cocked here. Okay, 1 hit. And then that's it. So then the Germans have 2 infantry at 4. 1. So 1 each. Okay, they will each lose an infantry. So we've got the artillery at 4. That's a hit. We've got the Cossack at 4. That's it. Okay, that's it. So then the Germans... actually, the Germans only have 1 now, don't they? Yeah. Okay. So that's a hit for them. Okay. Okay, let's go for Congress Poland. So the Russians have an artillery at 4. No observation. Missed. And they've got 2 infantry and a Cossack. So 1 at 2. Missed. 1 at 3. Hit. And 1 at 4. Miss. And the Germans have 2 infantry at 4. 1 hit. So 1 loss each. Both of them have 1 infantry left. So artillery and Cossack. Let's try that again. Okay, that's a hit. And then German infantry missed. Okay, so the Russians lose 1. 7 infantry and 2 artillery. No observation. So 2 artillery, and let's just do the 2 infantry that are kicked up as well. So 2 at 4, 2 at 3. The artillery will be the green ones. 1 hit. Okay, just 1 hit. And then 5 more at 2. You know what, I'm going to have to rewind this. That's a miss. I can't remember if the artillery was, the hit was the artillery or the other guys. I think it was, but let me just stop this. Okay, so it was the artillery that hit, and that matters because it was first strike. So there's 2 German infantry at 4. So 2 hits. Wow. Okay. So 1 Russian, so 2 Russians and 1 German off. So again, the artillery is going to be the green ones. So 2 at 4, 2 at 3. 1, just 1 hit. And 3 more at 2. Misses. And 2 German infantry. 1 hit. Okay. So Germany's down to 1 infantry. And Russia is down to 4 infantry. Okay. So again, the green ones will be the artillery. 1 hit. And that's all we needed. And 1 German infantry. Wow, Germans defended well there, didn't they? Okay, that comes off. And the Germans come off. And the pie goes down. Okay, let's take a look. There we go. So, there we are. I'm just gonna, because I'm gonna sit down here. I'm gonna move that artillery over to Washington there. Okay, let's pull up a chair. Take a look at this. A lot of these guys can't move. And we are definitely going to move, let's say this guy here, this militia down here, and let's do 3 of the infantry down there. Okay, so let's take this militia off and move these 2 in. Move this one up. See the Cossack there. I say we leave them there. Okay. We've got a militia here. Let's move them down there. And we've got the 2 that came from the United States up here. So we're going to rail them. We're going to rail the artillery here. And the infantry. We're going to do the infantry in the same spot there. Okay. So, placing units. Place the colonial troop in Bohemia. Definitely 1. And 2. And here, let's just put this guy here, move this guy up here. So we put that infantry in Warsaw. So that's 3. Let's put them right here. And then we've got 1 militia. Let's put them up here in Lithuania. So, put a chip under them. There we go. Okay. We have some wartime economy. Oh, Jesus. 3. Okay. So let's just go to the board over there, because I haven't changed anything. Now, we know that these guys go up 5, so that's 24. And these guys go down 5, so that's 32. There we go. So 24 plus 3 is 27 for the Russians. And we certainly get to put one of these up here. I would hazard a guess to say that that will be, one of them will be there at the end. Okay. That's it for Russia. Okay, Japan's turn. So, Japan has 6 IPP. And they're going to go for wartime economy. Yep. Missed. Okay. And then their only purchase, they're going to move up the Dreadnought to the place units box. That's 4 IPP, so they're going to save the other 2. And their only attack move is they've got these guys here. They're going to go after that guy. Everybody rolls at 1. The 2 green ones will be the Russians, and the Cruiser Raider will be the white one. And no hits. So then the Cruiser Raider will run away like a little baby. And Japan collects their money. So they're now at 8 IPP. And they're done. Let's move on. All right, the United States of America. They are sitting at 21 IPP. So let's roll for their income increase. 2. Finally, they get a low roll. Okay, that takes them to 23 IPP. So they have 4 major factories. They're going to go for strategic bomber at 7 or that more. Okay, they got that one. I better do that because there's 4 of them. You know me, I will forget. Wartime economy for 7. Got it. And improved construction. I think that's 7. If it's not, I'll fix it later. You know, I got it anyway. And improved logistics. We'll call that 7 as well. I'm not sure though. Okay, that one missed. Improved construction goes to stage 3. Wartime economy and strategic bomber are on stage 2. Now they're going to spend 2 IPP for diplomacy. The first one will be Brazil. They need a 3 or less. Missed. And then Argentina, they need a 2 or less. Missed. Okay. They are going to purchase an infantry for each of Russia and France and Britain. They're going to purchase a U.S. Marine, and they're going to move this dreadnought ahead 1 stage. They're not going to move anything, so let's just flip this around. Okay, so we've got the infantry. Grab all this artillery. Russian artillery, can we see that? Yep, okay. So let's move up. And there's an infantry and an artillery for each of them. So here's the artillery and here's the infantry for the British. This is because of the cash and carry, right? And then we have the French infantry and French artillery. Here we go. They're both going in Picardy. Oh wait, the artillery can't go in there because that's only a minor port. Okay, so let's take the artillery to Normandy. Good thing I caught that. So there we go. Infantry, artillery, infantry, artillery, infantry, artillery, and let's move this down over here, and we'll go. Let's go to Texas. Keep an eye on those Mexicans. There we go. And that's it. So, I guess that's it. So China's up next. Okay, China's turn. So, pull 3 cards, one at a time. Yunnan, add 1 infantry to any territory. Okay, let's look around here. Now, Yunnan is this territory here. There's also this territory, but we've removed that from this scenario. You can go there if you want, if you're Japan or somebody, but you know, like it's not worth anything. It's not going to do you any good. And the reason we removed it is because there's no way for either side to get it. Like Yunnan could keep it, but what good is it going to do them, right? The nationalists can't get them because there's no naval infantry in China. So they can't assault it. They don't have a transport. They can't buy a transport. It's just not available. So we just removed Hainan. So that means that Yunnan gets 1 infantry, and he's going to attack the Nationalist infantry. So he's at 1, and the Nationalist is at 4. I guess we need dice, don't we? There we go. Okay. So, the Yunnan guy will be blue, and the Nationalist will be green. Missed. Okay, that's a hit. That's not. Okay, the Yunnan guy fails. All right. Next card. Next card. Shaanxi. Add 1 cavalry to any territory. All right. That's the yellow territories up there. Let's get in a little bit closer there. So, yellow cavalry. There we go. Definitely we don't want this one because you get slaughtered. But this one isn't too bad. He is in mountains, so he's rolling at 2, and the other guy is rolling at 4. Let's give him a yellow dice, since he's yellow. So yellow is at 2, and green is at 4. Oh, again, the Nationalists win that one. So the cavalry comes off. 1 more card. Let's see what we get here. Nationalists. -1 to all artillery dice in the first round of 1 combat this turn. There we go. Okay, so purchases, they've got 5 IPP, and the Nationalists will purchase an infantry and a militia. Let's take a look here. We're still pissed at the Zhili guy, so let's go after him. Go with all of these guys here. And let's go after the Ennui up top there. So, all of these guys. Let's not take all the infantry though. We'll leave 1 back. Actually, let's leave 2 back. That way, we can move 1 of them to down over here. So, they're only going with 1 infantry in there. But 2 mountain infantry, 2 artillery, and a cavalry. Okay. Oh, forgot this artillery down here. All right. So 1 of them, the artillery has to be -1. We'll do the one versus the Zhili, since they're not in a mountain. And so they will be at 3. Okay. So they've got 2 artillery at 3. 1 hit. And so that will be the Zhili militia. Okay. And then we have 2 militia and 3 infantry and the 2 artillery. So, you know what? Let's kick up those 2 militia so that everybody rolls at 2. 2, 4, 5. One hit. Okay, just 1 hit. And they have... Oh, I think I removed the militia from their own territory. Okay, they have 2 infantry at 4. Okay, now the 2 artillery is back to being at 4. 1 hit, and 5 at 2. Okay, 2 hits. And then they have 2 infantry. Wow, the Nationalists just can't help themselves, can they? Okay. So, that's the Gili territory. Okay, we got up top there now. Going into the mountains and across a river, but the river isn't going to matter because we have mountains. I guess it will matter to the mountain infantry, won't it? All right. 2 artillery at 3. 1 hit. So they will lose the cavalry. There we go. And then let's kick up the 2 mountain infantry, so they will be at 2 because they're crossing that river. And then 1 infantry will be at 1. So 2 at 2, 1 at 1. Misses. And then 1 cavalry at 2. Missed. And then they've got 2 infantry. Wow. They just can't get a hit, can they? So 2 artillery, 1 hit. 2 mountain infantry at 3 now. Missed. Infantry at 1. Missed. Cavalry at 2. Hit. Okay, that's it. So then they have 2 infantry. 1 hit finally. Okay. So these guys are off. This infantry is off. One of these guys is going to move here. And that's it for the non-combat movement. So the Gili well, I guess they can attack back, can't they? They have some guys left, but it doesn't look like a good idea though. They'd have to attack in the mountains or attack a huge stack. And the Ennui can attack, but not a good looking one, because the best they can do is 2 infantry and an artillery. They can't go with all their units. They can only go from 1 territory to an adjacent territory. So they're not going to attack, and I don't see anybody to move around. Let's put this guy right here, and this guy right here. They all know it was at the beginning of the turn. And China, did they go up any? I don't think so. Better check though. Yeah, they didn't go up any, so that's still 5. I'll clean that up after the turn's over. That's it for the round. I don't see anything else. Looking around. Yeah, things look a lot different than they did at the beginning of this round, that's for sure. Looked like the Austrians were done for. They're still not great. Got to remember though, they're going to start off with the Bulgarians this turn, so you can add those into the mix for them. Still. And we'll see what happens with the Italians. They're going to roll again. So that's it, everyone. Oh, I did put this dreadnought down. I forgot to do that on camera on the Japanese turn. I put them down right after I shut the camera off. So anyway, that's it. We're going to move on to the random events for winter of 1915. Remember, it's a winter turn, so all combat is only going to be 1 round. Take care, everyone. General Hand Grenade out.